Chasten Buttigieg took to the national stage as he joined his husband Pete on the campaign trail during his run for president, and the two haven't stopped since. Now, Chasten's coming out with his very first book. It's called I Have Something to Tell You, a memoir on his childhood, his relationship, and his hopes for the future. Of course, we're very excited to be joined now by Chasten Buttigieg. Great to have you here, Chasten. Thank you so much for joining us. The book comes out in September, so I'm curious, what made you decide that you wanted to share your story about all the obstacles that you've faced and gone through throughout your life?
Yeah, it was really my time spent out on the trail, and thanks for having me here today to talk about it. That one, obviously, I kept seeing myself depicted in the media in certain ways, or folks had ideas about who I was, or only connected me to my husband. And I thought, my story has a lot of value here, especially because I was meeting so many people along the way who shared many of those same stories that I had growing up gay in a very red rural place in our country, questioning whether or not I was going to find acceptance, if I would ever find love. Never imagined that we would even be celebrating this right that we are today, the 5th year anniversary of the Obergefell case in the Supreme Court. And so it was many of my travels and experiences out on the campaign trail where I just saw, I think I want to tell my story, and I want to tell it from my perspective, and a lot of people had written stories about me. I think it's time for me to write my own.
Yeah, everybody who's come out has their own sort of story and the challenges that they've gone through throughout all of that. In the book, you recall feeling different from your father and your brothers as well. During Pride Month, in moments like right now, what message do you have for the younger LGBTQ community out there about believing in yourself and really embracing your true self and all of those things that make you unique and special?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Pride for me, one, is a way for us to stop and reflect that Pride is not simply a parade. It's not just a block party. Pride was literally started as a riot. It was a protest. It was a step up against police brutality, started in large part by Black trans women. So one, it is an opportunity for members of this community to stop and pay respects to people who fought for all of these rights that we have, but also to take stock of what we need to do going forward, that not everyone in our community has it as easy, especially, white cisgender men. And also for me, as someone who grew up in a place that just made me feel like something about being gay was twisted and wrong, fearful that I would lose my family, my friends, be pushed out of my church, I spent a long period of my life believing that I wasn't supposed to be here. And now I am. I'm still here. And Pride for me is a time to reflect on that, about what it took to get here, some of the hardships that were in my way, but a celebration of my existence. And I think Pride for many people is a time to just celebrate the fact that we are alive, even when historically many people didn't want us to be.
So true. And it's so interesting how many twists and turns your life takes. It's just so hard to really think that you're going to predict what's going to happen with your life, and it completely changes in the opposite direction. Now, your book also talks about your relationship with your husband, Pete, as well. I mean, not a lot of people, Chasten, can say that their husband ran for president and made history really as America's first openly gay Democratic presidential candidate. I mean, that's incredible just to think about. And you just mentioned the Supreme Court decision. I never thought at 35 I'd be seeing a person potentially win the presidency that was openly gay. If Pete runs for president again in the future, has it ever dawned on you that you could be the first gentleman of the United States one day? Has that set in on you?
That was, the campaign it's hard work, and it's exhausting. So you're out there every day, sun up to sundown, even earlier and later. And there were a couple times where you'd stop and kind of pinch yourself and realize, if this goes really well, you might just find yourself living in the White House, which was hard to believe sometimes when, you're in 3-4 states a day and you're on all these planes and you're just focusing on the work, focusing on the people in front of you. And that was also just such a blessing on the campaign trail, to be focused solely on the work, focused on the people in front of us, meeting as many people as we could. I myself, I went out and I visited over 100 LGBTQ centers and homeless service providers, because that is a very close connection to my own personal story. And I wanted to make sure I was spending my time on the campaign trail doing things that really filled my heart. And there were some times I stopped and looked around and thought, wow, if he really does win this thing, this platform is only going to get bigger. And of course, I'm a little disappointed it's not him, obviously, but we're super excited to do everything we can to help the vice president. But I did, a few times on the campaign trail, just reflect on how far our country has come and how fast, but how far we have yet to go. And it was an honor to be out there as part of a historical campaign, especially alongside Peter.
And Chasten, we only have about another 90 seconds or so left with you. Before we let you go, I really wanted to mention your 2 rescue dogs. You really, and they're so cute, your dogs, Buddy and Truman, but you really inspired me a long time ago to adopt and rescue my own dog, Martin. There's him on the far left of the screen, and you see Buddy on the right, and the story was so profound to me because we know a lot of these dogs are in these shelters, and they're usually not the first ones a lot of people are picking up at these rescues. Yeah. And my dog had been there for almost 8 months as a stray that was on the streets. So pet adoption, obviously a big thing because of the coronavirus. What's your pitch to people as to why they should rescue a dog?
Oh, absolutely. Please adopt, don't shop. There are so many dogs out there that need love and attention, especially when you have that love to give. When we adopted Truman, I mean, he was hiding under tables. He wouldn't come within feet of us. He was so traumatized. And now he's actually laying just off camera. He's a big cuddle bug. And, he just needed someone to believe in him as well and invest that time and love. Same thing with Buddy. Very different story from Truman's, though. Very comfortable with food and getting into food. But, he was in the system for I think, 8 months as well. And they just bring so much love to our home. But I hope that if people are considering bringing a pet into their home, rather than spending thousands of dollars, please go support your local shelter and you will fall in love. That's what happened both times with Buddy and Truman. We went, we saw them, we had to bring them home. They really need your love and support. So please adopt, don't shop.
Amen. Chasten Buttigieg, author, of course, of the book, I Have Something to Tell You. The book comes out on September the 1st. Chasten, thank you so much for coming on, and happy Pride.
Hey, thanks for having me. Happy Pride.
All right, everyone. We're going to take a quick